I stepped out of the shower that Tuesday morning, water still dripping from my hair, when I heard Marcus on speakerphone in the kitchen. His laugh echoed through our apartment, casual and light. "Yeah, I wired it all this morning. She has no idea. What's she gonna do, throw a fit?" My stomach dropped. I grabbed my towel tighter and walked toward the sound of his voice. He was leaning against the counter, coffee in hand, grinning at his phone. When he saw me, he ended the call quickly. "Morning, babe," he said, like nothing had happened. My throat felt tight. "Who was that?" I asked. He shrugged. "Just Diana. She needed some help." Diana, his sister. The woman who had borrowed money from us 3 times before and never paid back a cent. What kind of help? I pressed. He set down his coffee and looked at me with that expression I had learned to hate. Patient. Condescending. Like I was a child asking too many questions. "I transferred our savings to her," he said flatly. "She's starting a business. She needed it more than we do right now." Our savings. Every dollar we had saved together. Gone. Without a conversation. Without my permission. Just gone. I stood there, frozen, as he walked past me toward the bedroom. "You'll understand eventually," he called over his shoulder. "She's family. My name is Mara, and I am 32 years old. I work as a freelance financial consultant from home, a job Marcus barely acknowledged because it did not come with a fancy office or a corporate title. We had been married for 4 years, together for 6. I thought I knew him. I thought we were partners. But that morning, standing in our kitchen with wet hair and a racing heart, I realized I had been lying to myself for a long time. The truth was, I had seen this coming. 2 weeks earlier, I had stumbled onto something that changed everything. It was late at night, and Marcus had left his laptop open on the dining table. A message notification popped up on the screen. I was not trying to snoop. I was just walking by. But the words caught my eye. It was from Diana. The message read, "Make sure you get it into my name before she finds out. She's slow. You've got this." I stared at those words. She's slow. Like I was some kind of burden. Some obstacle to work around. My hands trembled as I took a screenshot with my phone. I did not confront him. Not yet. Instead, I handed him his coffee the next morning and smiled. I kissed him on the cheek. I acted like everything was fine. But inside, something had shifted. I was done being the woman they underestimated. That night, after the shower confrontation, I tried talking to him again. "Marcus, that money was ours. We saved it together. You cannot just give it away without talking to me first." He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, barely listening. "Mara, you're overreacting. It's just money. We'll save more." Just money. 4 years of discipline. 4 years of skipping vacations and eating at home and putting off things we wanted. Just money. "She's never paid us back before," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "What makes you think this time will be different?" He finally looked up at me, and his expression was cold. "Because she's family. Real family. You wouldn't understand that because you weren't raised like we were." Those words hit me like a punch. Real family. As if I was not his wife. As if I did not matter. I turned and walked into our bedroom. I closed the door quietly behind me. I sat on the edge of the bed and cried for 10 minutes. Then I stopped. Crying was not going to fix this. Planning would. I opened my laptop and started writing everything down. Every conversation. Every insult. Every time his mother had called me an outsider. Every time Diana had taken money without returning it. I saved it all in a password-protected document. Then I made a phone call. The woman they underestimated was not who they thought I was. Marcus liked to tell people I worked from home doing computer stuff, waving his hand dismissively whenever anyone asked for details. What he did not tell them was that I had a degree in finance, that I managed portfolios for 3 private clients who paid me very well, that I understood money better than he ever would. I had stayed quiet because I thought it did not matter. I thought love meant not keeping score. But now I realized my silence had been mistaken for ignorance. His family thought I was lucky to be with him. His mother, Patricia, made that clear at every holiday dinner. She would smile sweetly and say things like, "Marcus could have married anyone, you know. He chose you." As if I should be grateful. As if I had won some prize. Diana was worse. She treated me like I was temporary. Like I was a phase Marcus would grow out of. She borrowed money and never said thank you. She invited him to family events and forgot to include me. And Marcus allowed it. Every single time. But they had made a mistake. They thought quiet meant weak. They thought polite meant stupid. They had no idea what I was capable of. And I was about to show them. The next morning I drove to a bank across town. Not our usual one. Somewhere new. Somewhere Marcus would never think to look. I opened an account under my maiden name, Turner. Mara Turner. It felt strange writing it again after 4 years of being Mara Caldwell. But it also felt like reclaiming something I had lost. I set up the account so that all my freelance payments would deposit there instead of our joint account. I made sure no alerts or statements would go to our shared email. Everything would come to a new email address I created just for this purpose. The banker, a kind woman named Angela, processed everything quickly. She did not ask questions. She just smiled and handed me a temporary debit card. "You'll get the permanent one in the mail within a week," she said. I thanked her and left. On the drive home, I felt something I had not felt in years. Control. For the first time since marrying Marcus, I had something that was mine alone. Something he could not touch. Something his family could not take. When I got home, Marcus was still asleep. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, staring at my new account information on my phone. The balance was small now, just the retainer from one client. But it would grow. And when the time came, I would be ready. That weekend, we went to Patricia's house for dinner. I baked a chocolate cake from scratch, the same recipe my grandmother had taught me. I spent 3 hours in the kitchen, making sure it was perfect. When we arrived, Patricia opened the door with her usual tight smile. "Oh, you brought something," she said, looking at the cake like it was a mess I had dragged in from outside. Diana was already inside, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine. She glanced at the cake and snorted. "Homemade? How cute. Did you think this was a bake sale?" Marcus said nothing. He just kissed his mother on the cheek and walked inside. I stood there holding the cake, feeling my face burn. Patricia took it from my hands and set it on the counter, without another word. At dinner, Diana talked about her new business idea. Some kind of boutique selling overpriced candles. Patricia clapped her hands together. "Oh, that sounds wonderful, darling. Marcus, you should help her with startup costs." I looked at Marcus. He nodded. "Already did, Mom. Transferred the money this week." Patricia beamed. "What would she do without you?" I sat there, silent, as they talked over me. As they planned Diana's future with my money. As they acted like I did not exist. After dinner, Diana looked at me and said, "You know, Mara, you're lucky Marcus is so generous. Not everyone would put up with a wife who doesn't really contribute." I smiled, said nothing, just excused myself to the bathroom. Once inside, I locked the door and cried for 5 minutes. Then I wiped my face, fixed my makeup, and walked back out. That night, I made another move. I called my college friend, Vanessa. She was a family lawyer now, one of the best in the state. We had kept in touch over the years, meeting for coffee every few months. She had always told me, "If you ever need help, I'm here." I had never thought I would actually need it. "Vanessa, I need to talk to you about something," I said, my voice shaking. "It's about Marcus." She listened as I explained everything. The transfer, the text message, the years of disrespect. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then she said, "Mara, you're still ahead. He doesn't know you know. That's your advantage." Do you want to make this a chess game? I nodded, even though she could not see me. Yes, I whispered. Good, she said. Here's what we're going to do. First, document everything. Every conversation, every transaction, every insult. Second, protect your assets. Move money quietly. Make sure your name is on things that matter. Third, do not let him know you're planning anything.
Stay calm. Stay sweet.
Let him think he's won. I took notes as she talked, my hand trembling. Can we really do this? I asked. She laughed softly. Mara, you're smarter than all of them combined. They just don't know it yet. Checkmate is coming. We just need to be patient. When I hung up, I felt something I had not felt in weeks. Hope. Not the naive kind. The dangerous kind. The kind that comes with a plan. I bought a voice recorder online. It was small, shaped like a pen, and could record hours of conversation. When it arrived, I started carrying it everywhere. Every dinner at Patricia's house. Every phone call Marcus took in the other room. Every conversation with Diana. I recorded it all. At first it felt wrong, like I was betraying something. But then I remembered what Marcus had said. She's not real family. I remembered Diana's message. She's slow. I remembered Patricia's cold smile every time I walked through her door. And I stopped feeling guilty. One evening, Marcus was on the phone with Diana again. I was in the kitchen, pretending to do dishes, but the recorder was in my pocket. She's asking questions, Marcus said. But she'll get over it. She always does. Diana laughed. You need to shut that down. If she tries to make trouble, remind her who she married. Remind her what she'd lose. I will, Marcus said. Don't worry. She's not going anywhere. I turned off the water and dried my hands slowly. Every word was saved now. Every dismissal. Every insult. Every plan they thought I could not hear. They had no idea what they were handing me. Evidence.
Power.
Ammunition. When Marcus came into the kitchen, I smiled at him. Who was that? I asked sweetly. Just Diana, he said. Nothing important. I nodded and kissed him on the cheek. Okay, baby. Dinner's almost ready. He had no idea. A month after the savings transfer, Marcus brought up the idea of a post-nuptial agreement. We were sitting on the couch, watching television, when he suddenly muted it and turned to me. Mara, I've been thinking. With everything going on with Diana's business, and maybe us talking about kids soon, it might be smart to protect ourselves financially. You know, just in case. I looked at him carefully. Just in case of what? He shrugged. Just in case anything happens. Divorce.
Death.
Whatever. It's responsible. I knew what this was. His mother had put him up to it. A late-stage post-nuptial design to strip me of any claim to his assets. To make sure I walked away with nothing if things went south. That makes sense, I said, smiling. Let's talk about it next week. I want to make sure I understand everything. He seemed relieved. Great. I'll have my lawyer draft something. That night, after he fell asleep, I emailed Vanessa. He wants a postnup. What do I do? Her response came within an hour. Let him draft it. Don't sign anything. We'll draft our own. Make sure you have leverage first. I smiled in the dark. Marcus thought he was controlling the game. But he had no idea the board had already flipped. I was 3 moves ahead. And he was about to lose everything. 2 weeks later, something happened that I had not planned for. I missed my period. At first, I thought it was stress. Everything with Marcus had been weighing on me. But when another week passed, I took a test. 2 lines. Positive. I sat on the bathroom floor, staring at that little stick, and felt a wave of emotions I could not name.
Joy. Fear. Panic.
Confusion. I was pregnant. With his child. The child of a man who had betrayed me. A man whose family saw me as disposable. I wanted to cry, but I did not. Instead, I made a decision. This baby would never grow up thinking I was weak. This baby would never see me bow to people who did not respect me. This baby deserved better. And I was going to make sure they got it. I did not tell Marcus right away. I needed time to think, time to plan, time to make sure that when I finally told him, I was in control. Because one thing was certain. They were never going to raise my child. Not Patricia, with her cruel smiles. Not Diana, with her selfishness. Not Marcus, with his dismissive words. This baby was mine, and I was going to protect them. I hired a private investigator. His name was Tom, and Vanessa recommended him. He was quiet, professional, and discreet. I told him everything. The savings transfer. The text messages. The business Diana was supposedly starting. I need to know where the money went, I said. I need to know if there's more going on than I realize. Tom nodded. Give me 2 weeks. It took him 10 days. He called me on a Wednesday afternoon. Mara, you were right to be suspicious. Your husband's been meeting someone. Not romantic. Financial. A woman named Kelly Brooks. She's listed as a business consultant, but she's running multiple shell accounts. I think your sister-in-law is involved in something bigger than a candle business. My heart pounded. What do you mean? I mean this might be fraud. Real fraud. I found 3 accounts under different names, all tied back to Diana. Your husband's name shows up on 2 of them as a co-signer. If this gets investigated, he could be in serious trouble. I sat down slowly. This was worse than I thought. Marcus was not just being stupid and generous. He was involved in something illegal. And he had dragged our money into it. Can you get me proof? I asked. Already have it, Tom said. I'll send everything over today. When the files came through, I printed them all. Bank statements, account registrations, meeting logs, everything. I put them in a folder and locked it in my car. Then I called Vanessa. We need to meet, I said. It's bigger than we thought. I found the will by accident. Marcus had left his email open on his laptop again, and I saw a message from his lawyer. The subject line read, Updated estate plan, final draft. I should not have opened it, but I did. The document loaded slowly, and when I read it, my blood went cold. Everything was being left to future children. If I died, custody would go to Diana. My name did not appear anywhere as a beneficiary. If Marcus died, I would get nothing. The house, the cars, his retirement accounts. All of it would bypass me entirely and go into a trust managed by Patricia and Diana. I was written out of his life, erased, like I had never mattered at all. I sat there, one hand on my stomach, feeling my baby move for the first time. A tiny flutter, a reminder of what I was fighting for. They thought they could take everything. They thought I would just accept it. They were wrong. I forwarded the email to myself, then deleted the sent message from his account. I printed the will and added it to my folder. Every piece of evidence was building. Every document was another nail in their coffin. I was not just protecting myself anymore. I was protecting my child. And I would burn their whole world down if I had to. I started moving things out of the apartment slowly. A few clothes here, some keepsakes there, my laptop, my important documents. I rented a small storage unit across town and filled it little by little. Marcus never noticed. He was too busy with Diana's business, too distracted by whatever scheme they were running. The only thing I left behind was the baby crib. Patricia had ordered it without asking me. White and pristine, with expensive bedding I had never chosen. It sat in the corner of the spare bedroom, untouched. A symbol of a future that would never happen. Not in this house. Not with these people. One night, Marcus asked me why I had not set it up yet. We still have time, I said, rubbing my stomach. I want to wait until we're closer. He nodded, satisfied. He had no idea I was planning to leave. No idea that every smile I gave him was a mask. No idea that I was already gone. I just had not walked out the door yet. But soon, very soon, Everything was almost in place. The accounts, the evidence, the lawyer, the escape plan. I just needed one more thing. The right moment. And I was willing to wait. 2 weeks before I left, Patricia invited me to dinner. Just me. No Marcus. It felt like a trap, but I went anyway. I needed to see what they were planning. When I arrived, Diana was there too. Of course she was. They sat me down at the dining table and handed me a stack of papers. "What's this?" I asked. "Just formalities," Patricia said sweetly. "For the baby. We want to make sure everything's protected." I scanned the first page. It was a contract, a parenting agreement that gave them visitation rights, decision-making power over medical care, education, religion. It was not a formality. It was a takeover. They were trying to claim my baby before it was even born. I looked up at them. Patricia was smiling. Diana was watching me carefully, waiting for me to break.
And I laughed.
I could not help it. I laughed so hard that tears ran down my face. "You think I'm going to sign this?" I said, standing up. "You think I'm that stupid?" Patricia's smile faded. "Mara, sit down. We're trying to help you." "Help me?" I picked up the papers and tore them in half. "You've never helped me. You've spent 4 years treating me like I'm nothing. Like I'm lucky to be here. Well, guess what? I'm done. You'll be hearing from someone very soon." I walked out, leaving them sitting there in stunned silence. It felt good. Better than anything had felt in years. I drove home, called Vanessa, and said 2 words. "I'm ready." I disappeared the next morning. I packed the last of my things while Marcus was at work. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter with a note that said simply, "I know everything." Then I left. I stayed with Vanessa for the first week. She lived in a secure building with cameras and a doorman. Marcus could not get to me. He tried. He called 50 times that first day. He sent texts, emails, voice messages. "Mara, where are you? What's going on? We need to talk. Please come home." I did not respond. I blocked his number. I blocked Diana. I blocked Patricia. I changed my phone. I rerouted my mail. I vanished. But I could still see everything they were doing. Vanessa set up monitoring on their social media accounts. Marcus posted a vague status. "Going through some things. Appreciate your patience." Diana posted a picture of herself with a candle, captioning it, "Family first. Always." Patricia posted nothing. But according to Vanessa's contacts, she was calling everyone she knew, trying to find me, trying to figure out what I knew, trying to control the damage. But it was too late. The damage was already done. And I was just getting started. Vanessa filed a financial protection order on a Monday morning. It froze half of all marital assets immediately. Joint accounts, credit cards, investment portfolios, everything. Marcus found out when he tried to buy coffee and his card was declined. He called the bank. They told him the account was frozen pending a legal review. He called Vanessa's office, furious. She let the receptionist handle it. "Miss Caldwell is pursuing legal action. All communication needs to go through her attorney. Have a nice day." Diana tried transferring money from one of the shell accounts Tom had identified. It was flagged immediately. The bank froze it pending an investigation. She called Marcus, panicking. He called me. I did not answer. By the end of the day, they were scrambling, trying to figure out what I knew, trying to figure out how I had done it. But they were too late. The board had flipped, and I was holding all the pieces. Vanessa called me that evening. "They're panicking. This is good. Keep the pressure on. Don't contact them. Let them sit in the uncertainty." I agreed. Uncertainty was a weapon, and I was learning how to use it. Marcus wanted control. Now he had none, and it was destroying him. A post appeared on a parenting forum online. I did not write it, but someone did. "My husband stole our savings and gave it to his sister. Now I'm pregnant and don't know what to do." It went viral. Thousands of comments. People sharing their own stories, offering advice, expressing outrage. The post did not mention names, but people who knew Marcus started connecting the dots. Someone tagged him in a Facebook comment. "Is this you?" His clients started asking questions. One of them, a small business owner who valued integrity, quietly ended their contract. Diana lost a brand deal with a local wellness company. They did not say why, but the timing was obvious. Patricia stopped posting on social media entirely. The whispers were spreading. And I had not said a single word.
I had not had to.
The truth was doing the work for me. Marcus sent me an email from a new address. "Mara, please. Let's talk. This is getting out of hand. I'll fix everything. Just come home." I deleted it without responding. There was nothing left to say. He had made his choices.
Now he was living with them.
Tom called me with an update. "I reached out to Kelly Brooks, the consultant your husband was working with. She thought he was divorced. When I showed her proof of your marriage, she agreed to cooperate. Kelly had records, transaction logs, meeting notes, emails, everything we needed to prove the fraud. She handed it all over willingly. I don't want any part of this," she told Tom. "I thought I was helping a single guy start a business with his sister. I didn't know he was stealing from his wife." The documents filled in the missing pieces. Diana had lied about the business. There was no boutique.
No candles.
It was a shell company designed to hide money. Money that Marcus had funneled from our savings and other sources I was still uncovering. Kelly's records showed payments to offshore accounts, fake invoices, falsified tax documents. It was worse than fraud. It was conspiracy. Vanessa reviewed everything and whistled low. "Mara, this is big. If we turn this over to the authorities, your husband and his sister could face serious charges. Are you ready for that?" I thought about Patricia's cruel smile, Diana's insults, Marcus saying I was not real family. "Yes," I said. "I'm ready." We filed an anonymous tip with the IRS. Then we waited. The audit notice came 3 weeks later. Marcus received it first. Then Diana. Then Patricia, whose legacy fund was suddenly under investigation. I heard about it through Vanessa's sources. Marcus had called his lawyer in a panic. Diana had hired a tax attorney. Patricia had stopped answering calls from extended family members who were asking questions. Everything they had built was unraveling. Accounts were being frozen. Assets were being reviewed. The IRS does not move quickly, but when they do, they are thorough. And they were being very thorough. Marcus sent me another email. "Mara, I know you're behind this.
Please.
We can fix this.
Just talk to me."
I'll do anything." I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered the way he had laughed on that phone call. She has no idea. The way he had dismissed me. She's not real family. The way he had let his mother and sister treat me like I was nothing. And I deleted the email. He had made this bed. Now he could lie in it.
Alone.
The family imploded slowly, then all at once. Patricia's fund, which she had always described as a family legacy, was revealed to be a mess of questionable investments and unreported income. The audit flagged multiple violations. Extended family members who had trusted her with their money started demanding answers. She could not give them any. Diana's business was exposed as a fraud. Her social media followers turned on her. Comments flooded her posts. Scammer. Liar. Thief. She deleted her accounts, but the damage was done. Marcus lost 2 more clients. His reputation in the industry was crumbling. People were talking. And in a field built on trust, talk was everything. I watched it all from a distance, safe in Vanessa's apartment, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction. They had tried to erase me, to take everything I had worked for, to claim my child as their own. Now they were learning what it felt like to lose. And I had done it without ever raising my voice, without ever confronting them publicly. I had simply let the truth do what truth does. Destroy lies. The court date arrived on a cold morning in November. I was 6 months pregnant, my belly round and obvious under my coat. Vanessa walked beside me, her hand on my arm. Marcus was already inside with his lawyer. Diana and Patricia sat in the back row. When I walked in, Marcus looked at me. Really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. I saw shock in his eyes. Maybe even regret. But it was too late for that. We sat down. The judge reviewed the case. Vanessa presented our evidence. The recordings. The financial documents. The emails. The will that had written me out entirely. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue. Tried to downplay everything. Tried to paint me as vindictive and unstable. But the evidence did not lie. And the judge saw through it all. When it was my turn to speak, I kept it brief. Your Honor, I don't want revenge. I just want to protect my child. I want to make sure they grow up in a safe, stable environment, away from people who see them as property instead of a person. The judge nodded. Marcus sat there, silent. His mother whispered something to Diana, but no one said anything that mattered, because the evidence had already spoken, and it had said everything. The judge ruled in my favor. Full custody. The house went to me. The car went to me. Marcus was ordered to pay child support and spousal support until I remarried or requested it to stop. The financial fraud case was referred to the authorities for further investigation. Diana and Patricia would face their own legal battles. Marcus was ordered to stay away from me unless it involved supervised visitation with the child, and even that would be reviewed after the baby was born. He stood there, stunned. His lawyer whispered something to him, but he just shook his head. Patricia stood up, her face red. This is ridiculous. She planned this. She manipulated everything. The judge looked at her coldly. Ma'am, sit down or I'll have you removed. She sat. Vanessa squeezed my hand. You did it, she whispered. I nodded, but I did not feel victorious. I just felt tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of defending myself. Tired of proving I mattered. But it was over now. I had won, not because I wanted to destroy them, but because I had refused to be destroyed. And that made all the difference. 2 weeks after the court ruling, I walked into Patricia's favorite brunch spot. It was a Sunday morning, and I knew they would be there. The whole family. Pretending everything was normal, I walked up to their table. Patricia saw me first. Her face went pale. Marcus stood up. Mara, what are you? I handed him an envelope. Then one to Diana. Then one to Patricia. These are cease and desist letters, I said calmly, for defamation and harassment. If any of you contact me, post about me, or try to interfere with my life in any way, my lawyer will pursue legal action. Do you understand? Patricia opened her mouth, but no words came out. Diana stared at the letter like it might explode. Marcus just looked at me. Mara, please. Can we just talk? No, I said. You had 4 years to talk to me.
To see me.
To treat me like I mattered.
You chose not to.
You saw a placeholder. Someone convenient. Someone you could use and discard. But I'm not that person anymore. And you'll never get the chance to know who I actually am. I turned and walked out. No one followed me. No one called my name. I got into my car and drove away. And for the first time in years, I felt free. 2 years later, I was sitting in my home office, reviewing a client proposal, when I heard my son laughing in the other room. His name was Oliver, and he was the best thing I had ever done. He had Marcus's eyes but my smile. And he was growing up in a house filled with love. Real love. Not the conditional, performative kind I had lived with for so long. I ran my own consulting firm now. Small, but successful. I worked with clients who respected me, who valued my expertise, who paid me what I was worth. I had rebuilt my life from the ground up. New home, new career, new confidence. Marcus had visitation rights, but he rarely used them. He saw Oliver once a month, supervised by a social worker. He tried to be a good father in those moments, but it was clear he did not know how. Patricia and Diana were facing legal consequences. The fraud investigation had led to charges. They were fighting it, but the evidence was overwhelming. I did not follow it closely.
It was not my battle anymore.
I had moved on, and I was happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. The kind of happiness that comes from knowing you chose yourself.
From knowing you survived.
From knowing you won. Last week, I received a message from an unknown number. It said, "Mara, it's Marcus. I know you blocked me. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long time.
Part of me wanted to respond.
To tell him how much he had hurt me. To make him understand what he had done. But I did not. Instead, I blocked the number. Because talking would not change anything. He had made his choices. And I had made mine. I walked into the living room where Oliver was playing with his blocks. He looked up at me and smiled.
"Mana."
I picked him up and held him close. "Hey, baby. I love you." He hugged me back, his little arms tight around my neck. And in that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. Marcus had given everything to his sister. His loyalty, his trust, his money. But in doing so, he had lost everything that mattered. His wife, his son, his integrity. And I had given myself back to me. My strength, my voice, my future. And that was worth more than anything he could ever take away. I had won. Not because I destroyed them, but because I refused to let them destroy me. And that was the sweetest victory of all.